I ate A for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding. I'd been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were just 5 and 3. Our family has grown to include Adam, 28, Ben, 26, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married this summer to his fiancée, Alice. We were all excited for them, and everyone had roles in the wedding. Charles was the best man, the other 2 boys were groomsmen, and Ellie was a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a birthday dinner for my husband. As we chatted about the wedding, Ellie mentioned how excited she was to go dress shopping. We planned a trip to a bigger city for her dress and for me to find a stepmom of the groom dress. Suddenly, Alice looked at Adam and said we only needed to worry about Ellie's dress. Ellie joked, asking, "What are you expecting Mom to wear? A suit?" That's when Alice said, "My name isn't going. We're keeping our guest list very limited to family and a few close friends." I was stunned. Adam and Alice had been to our home many times since their engagement, and this was the first I'd heard of me not being invited. Things escalated quickly. Charles asked if they were choosing to uninvite me or if I was never invited in the first place. Alice confirmed it was the latter. Adam said it was because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued that it was cruel to leave me out, especially since I've loved Adam like my own for most of his life. My husband and I sat there, shocked. Adam then turned to my husband and asked, "Well?" My husband said he wouldn't be going either. Adam then asked me if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. In that moment, I just laughed. I don't know why, but it felt so absurd that laughter was all I could muster. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car, and then I broke down in tears. Now, Charles, David, and Ellie aren't talking to Adam. He called my husband yesterday, trying to smooth things over, but remained adamant that I wasn't invited. He even requested I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him, "Tough luck. It's their wedding, and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually attend." He said they owe me an apology, and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. Now I'm receiving texts asking why I'm being a stepmonster and ruining the wedding. AITA. My wife lied to me, and I don't know who she is anymore. I should probably stop posting online. It's likely an unhealthy coping mechanism, but this has become the only place where I can speak freely. In my real life, I have to be so careful with every word I say. I just need to get this off my chest, and then I'll be done. It wasn't always like this. Most of this story is a romance. I met my wife in college, and I liked her immediately. She was beautiful, funny, and smart. What drew me to her was her sharpness. I've always loved that quality in women. Back then, I was sharp too, and we sharpened each other. We were that couple sitting in the back of every room, judging everyone with our whispered comments, just cutting enough to hurt. We thought we were so sophisticated, believing our tastes were refined and that nothing was uglier than a rounded edge. When I first asked her out, she told me we wouldn't work because her father wouldn't approve. I didn't care about her father. I cared about her. The more time we spent together, the more I loved her. Her father's first words to me were that I wasn't good enough for his daughter. He refused to come to our wedding, but the day after, he gave my wife a generous down payment for a house because no daughter of his was going to be a renter. I never liked him, but I found him amusing. He was so ineffectual against our love. When he saw our first baby, he said, "He looks like his father," and I felt like a proud peacock, high on my own virility. I was too proud to see that his words were a condemnation. Holding my firstborn changed everything. I felt different, silly, and immature. I began to understand the importance of the rounded edge. My high-minded philosophy seemed unimportant. Babies don't care how clever you are. They eat, cry, and poop. They are the most important thing you'll ever do. I softened. I began to understand my parents better. I always adored my mother, yet I looked down on her. Her politics were boring, her philosophy uninspired, her religion sentimental. But when I held my baby, I understood her like never before. She was soft, not sharp, and that was what my child needed, a a soft place to land. We managed to adjust to every change in our lives, always finding our equilibrium. About a year ago, that slipped away. Our toddler struggled with potty training, and our daughter began to fall behind in school. Our oldest became, well, annoying. We, who once prided ourselves on cleverness, were outsmarted by a 12-year-old. You didn't say I could only spend $20. You said I couldn't buy anything over $20. Each of these 20 things is $5, he argued. It felt like the grandparents' revenge. I understood why some people might have disliked me as a child. But he's a good kid. He doesn't steal, hit, curse, or lie. He argues, talks too much, and complains. But isn't that a symptom of cleverness? He was too much like us, yet nothing like us. This child we created, wasn't that good? Don't we want our children to be individuals? Yes, we needed to curb the arguing and interrupting, but we worked on it. He improved. Life was a struggle, but he wasn't the struggle. Then my wife cracked. It happens. We've all been there. Our son corrected a mistake she made, and she was embarrassed. She screamed at him to shut up. I asked her to apologize because he didn't deserve that. She shut down. She told me she was overwhelmed. I get it. I'm overwhelmed too. I think I've been overwhelmed for a long time and just refused to acknowledge it. I told her to take a break. She took a break. But then my wife, who I have always trusted, lied to me. She said she quit her job. That was a lie. She didn't quit. She was suspended and will likely be fired soon. She's been telling me all year that her coworkers are incompetent and she's the only one doing her job correctly. In reality, she's been on a performance improvement plan for months. Why was she suspended? She told a coworker he needed to finish something by the end of the month to meet a February deadline. He interrupted her to correct her, and she screamed at him to shut up. She treated him the same way she treated our son. The only difference is our household doesn't have an HR department. She lied to me. Is that what I should be hung up on? Probably not. What's really killing me, what I can't say in real life, is this. I always thought she was sharp, and I loved that about her. I felt special for recognizing her elegance and worth. But maybe she isn't sharp. Maybe she's just thin-skinned and irritable. Yes, she lied to me, but maybe I lied to myself first. AITA for not holding the door for a woman. Recently, I switched my daughter to a new daycare, and the entry system is similar to her old one. You enter a code into a keypad to unlock the door. Only authorized individuals can pick up a child, and they check IDs at the daycare. At the old daycare, I learned not to hold the door for anyone. I assumed the same rule applied at the new place, and I appreciated that policy. One day, as I entered the daycare, an older woman in her late 60s stood behind me. I entered my code, and she tried to follow. I gently blocked the door with my body and said, "I'm sorry, but I think you need to use the entry pad." She replied, "Oh, I'm just somebody's grandma." I explained, "I understand, but I still can't let you in. There's a button right there to ask the front desk for help." She huffed and asked, "Are you really not going to let me in?" I repeated that I couldn't, and I pulled the door closed behind me, letting a staff member know someone was waiting. Moments later, I heard the door open again. The woman walked past me, muttering under her breath and shooting me a dirty look. I could tell she thought I was in the wrong. When I shared this with my husband, he said I wasn't at fault, but suggested I might have just let her in. To me, safety comes first. I'd rather face an awkward moment than risk my child's safety. So AITA, just to clarify, the area we were in felt safe. It was an interior space between two sets of doors that opened automatically, and the keypad door.
Update. AITA for letting my brother call me dad and refusing to tell him the ugly truth. Hey everyone, so many of you wanted an update on my situation, and I took your advice to seek professional help first. I hope to keep this as brief as possible while sharing the details. I visited a local therapist and shared my story. He suggested that I tell my brother the truth as soon as I could. And he emphasized the importance of having my biological children present during the conversation. I also spoke with a few close friends, and they echoed similar sentiments. My wife and I decided it was time to sit the kids down and reveal everything. I invited my brother, Josh, to come closer, making sure he felt comfortable. I started by expressing how much we love him, then shared the truth about our parents and my role in his life. I hugged him tightly, assuring him that my love for all my children was unwavering. At first, he was in shock, asking if I was joking. Tears welled up in my eyes, and he could see I was serious. My biological children were surprised too. Josh was emotional and asked why I hadn't told him sooner. I struggled to find the right words, saying I was trying to protect him and hoped he could forgive me. Understandably, he left the room upset. For a while, he didn't talk to me much. I invited him to play football, his favorite, but he often declined and sometimes seemed angry at my attempts to reach out. I felt like I had made a huge mistake. Then one day, while my wife and kids were out shopping, Josh approached me. He said, "Oh no, you're not my real father, but I want you to know you're the best dad in the whole world. I'm sorry for before." I hugged him tightly, and it was a truly emotional moment. Things aren't perfect, but they're slowly getting better. The weight of the secret is gone, and it feels like we're starting anew. Josh has shown incredible strength, handling this situation better than I ever expected. I'm considering therapy for him, just to ensure he has support moving forward. I'm committed to being a great dad to all my kids, including my brother. Thank you to everyone who encouraged me toward this happy ending. Your advice and support meant the world to me. Good night.
I looked at my wife yesterday and thought, why can't she just stop sometimes? We were sitting in the car, not even arguing, just existing. And in that moment, I wondered why she couldn't just ease up. Why the constant snapping at me and the kids over every little thing? Why does she seem so cold all the time? It feels like everything we do is a burden to her. I hate the position her attitude has put me in. I don't want to be this guy, feeling like I need to find someone else to connect with. I don't want to spend my nights venting online like some lonely soul, getting judged by people who think they know everything about love and loyalty. I'm tired of feeling like a stranger in my own home, emotionally starved and bitter. It's humiliating to feel like I'm a creep for wanting to be close to my own wife, for trying to initiate something beyond just being roommates and co-parents. I just want connection, intimacy, affection, the basic things that people in love are supposed to share. But her neglect has turned me into someone I don't even recognize. I hate that she thinks nothing is wrong, even when I'm telling her otherwise. I've tried to have conversations, to fix things, but somehow I'm still the problem in her eyes. I hate that she insists on taking family pictures, big smiles, matching outfits, like everything is perfect, while we're crumbling inside. I feel forced to fake it for a photo just so she can post it online and feel validated, all while making us all miserable behind the scenes. It's exhausting. Everything revolves around her moods and needs. Even dinner is a struggle. We eat the same 4 things every week, not because we can't do better, but because she refuses to try. I'm tired of walking on eggshells, tired of carrying the emotional weight of this house. I'm tired of smiling for the kids while I'm dying inside. And honestly, I hate being judged by strangers for looking for someone to connect with, as if I'm a monster for wanting to feel desired or loved. They don't know what it's like to feel invisible in my own marriage. I don't need the judgment. I need understanding. I don't know what I'm asking for. Maybe just to be heard, to feel like I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Because right now, it feels like I'm invisible in my own life. It's not as simple as just leaving, as many might suggest. Financially, it would ruin me and my kids' futures. Starting over would set me back years in building a life where I could be genuinely happy. My kids would end up with her most of the time, and while that might sound like a relief to some, I'm the one who's here to protect and guide them. Leaving isn't as easy as it seems. When it comes to household and parenting responsibilities, I'd say it's an 85-15 split, with me doing the bulk. She comes home, sits on the couch while I make dinner. After we eat, I do the dishes while she hangs around. She gets her nails done whenever she wants and goes out when she feels like it. I give her space. I can admit there's probably something deeper going on. She grew up in a household where therapy and emotional growth were frowned upon. Her parents have a similar dynamic, emotionally distant and critical. I do my best to show our kids that this level of anger or resentment isn't okay. Since posting, she's been a little nicer. I doubt she saw this, but maybe just putting it out there shifted something in the universe. I'll take the kindness, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't feel off. Anyway, thank you to those who responded with empathy instead of judgment. As someone once said, be curious, not judgmental.
I am losing all my hope in my fiancé after his parents died. My fiancé has been struggling for a year now, ever since his parents tragically passed away in a car crash. To give you some background, he always felt a deep sense of obligation to them. As the youngest of 4, he watched his siblings succeed, going to prestigious universities and landing impressive jobs. For the past few years, he turned his life around, losing about 80 pounds, finding new hobbies, making friends, and landing a well-paying job. He even earned his PhD and proposed to me, making his parents incredibly proud. That was just 2 weeks before the accident. After the tragedy, he tried to cope by renting a lodge in the mountains to clear his head. I supported him, unsure of how else to react. When he returned, he told me he had been experimenting with various substances, hoping to reach some sort of enlightenment. While he may have experienced a shift, it feels like he's been stuck in a dark place ever since. He's gained back the weight, now around 290 pounds, and has become increasingly nihilistic. We've tried therapy, both individually and as a couple, but he approaches it with cynicism, refusing to accept any help. We even canceled our wedding because it didn't feel right without his parents. I've poured my energy into supporting him, but I'm starting to lose my feelings for us. Working out together, which once brought us closer, now fills me with resentment. He stopped caring for me and lost interest in everything, including intimacy. We've only been intimate a handful of times this past year, and I find myself feeling disconnected. He didn't even notice when I lost my job and took 2 months to find a new one. Whenever my parents visit, he either becomes overwhelmed with sadness or leaves the house. I'm at a loss. I love him and don't want to leave, but it feels like he's given up on life. What started as grief seems to have turned into a refusal to engage with the world. I genuinely can't understand why some believe it's normal for someone to lose everything after a loss. I've done everything I can to help, but he won't accept it. I'm burned out, not heartless. I love my fiancé, but I need to find a way forward.
My wife asked if I still love her last month. I hesitated. We've been together for 6 years and married for 3. We met at a friend's birthday party, and I spilled beer on her dress while trying to be smooth. She still brings it up. For a long time, we were that couple. About 3 years ago, I started a company, and she was my biggest supporter. She believed in it before I did. She would stay up with me when I was stressed, bring me food when I forgot to eat, and talk me off the ledge when things got tough. She used to say, "I'm investing in you," whenever I felt guilty about how much time I was spending on it. But I don't know when things changed. It wasn't one moment. I just slowly disappeared, I guess. Last month, we were on the couch. She was watching The Bear, her 3rd rewatch. She loves that show. I was on my laptop, refreshing my email every 30 seconds, waiting for a response that might never come. Then she paused the show. I didn't notice for a few moments. "Do you even want to be here right now?" she asked. I looked up, and she was crying. I had no idea how long she'd been upset. She said she felt like she was living with my LinkedIn profile. She told me her sister was pregnant, and when she shared the news 2 weeks ago, I had responded with, "That's great," and then asked where my charger was. I don't remember that conversation. but I believe her. She mentioned a guy at work who keeps asking her to get coffee. She said no every time, but she's thought about saying yes because he asks how she's doing and actually waits for the answer. That hit me hard. We talked until almost 3 a.m. I learned her best friend was getting divorced, something that had been going on for over a month. She had a weird mole removed the week before, but hadn't told me about the appointment because she figured I wouldn't remember anyway. She had even gotten promoted back in October. I asked her why she didn't share any of this with me. She said, "I did. You just weren't listening." The next morning, she made me coffee without me asking. She hadn't done that in months. I almost lost it over a simple cup of coffee. After that night, I blocked off my evenings. No work after 7. I've had to reschedule things, but I've been doing it. I don't really know why I'm sharing this. I guess I just needed to say it somewhere. She was my biggest supporter for 3 years, and I repaid her by disappearing. She was grieving me while I was sitting right next to her. It's been a month. The evenings are still blocked off. We watched The Bear together last week, the whole episode. I didn't check my phone once. I don't know if I've fixed everything, but I think we're getting somewhere.
My husband just confessed to lying to me for 2 years. In 2023, I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney cancer. After a major surgery to remove the tumor and my kidney, my husband took a leave of absence from work to help me through my recovery. During that time, he spent a lot of money on medical aids to keep me comfortable at home, like a special shower chair, a rolling table so I wouldn't have to leave my recliner, and nice heating pads. A few months later, we took in an 18-year-old girl from our church who had left home due to an abusive situation. I had been her youth leader and was worried she might end up in a dangerous situation, so we offered her our spare bedroom rent-free while she figured things out. During her 3 months with us, small things began to go missing. Some items I had lent her and others that just vanished. Eventually, we arranged for her to move in with an older sister in another state. We helped her pack and get on the plane, but she left behind many things she claimed she didn't want or need. As I began clearing out her room, hoping to find the missing items, I discovered the fancy heating pad my husband had bought me during my recovery. It was tucked away in the bottom of a box of her things that we were planning to discard. I was so relieved it hadn't disappeared. Fast forward to today. I'm pregnant with our 4th child, and my back has been hurting, so I pulled out that heating pad and have been using it regularly. I mentioned to my husband how grateful I was that he had bought it for me and how much it helped. He grew quiet and then confessed he had been lying for 2 years. He told me we never found the original heating pad. He felt terrible that I was upset about it, so he bought a new one, opened it, and placed it in the box, knowing I would find it. When he revealed this, I braced myself for something worse. But no, he just wanted me to think it was the original. He said he felt relieved now that he didn't have to hide it anymore. In that moment, I felt so grateful to have such a caring husband. I don't want to come off as weird to my apparent guardian angel. Most of my life after high school has been a struggle. I jumped from job to job, often due to my inability to perform, a lack of motivation, or just plain rudeness. I think a lot of this stems from my complicated relationship with my father. Even as a child, I found it hard to discover anything I was truly passionate about. I would get excited about something new, only to lose interest after a week or two. This cycle led to severe depression and strained relationships. About a year and a half ago, I went to a barber shop near my house. I was feeling miserable in my latest job teaching music. The barber, a man I had never met, asked me a few questions. After a while, he stopped cutting my hair, looked me in the eye, and said, "You just need to be a barber." I laughed, but he was serious. He told me there was a school right down the street, and I should consider it. Fast forward to today. I've graduated barber school, and now have a job cutting hair. I've never felt this excited or passionate about anything in my life, aside from getting married. The journey has been incredibly challenging, but also fulfilling. For the first time, I've stuck with something for more than 8 months, and I feel like I'm just beginning. Throughout this process, the barber has been like a guardian angel. He not only guided me to the school, but also managed to lower my tuition without me knowing. He encouraged me whenever I felt unsure and allowed me to learn from him at his shop. He shared tricks of the trade and his special secrets that he's picked up over the years. My wife, who was ready to leave me, received support from him and his wife during our tough times. They helped us navigate our challenges while I was in barber school. To top it all off, he secured me a job right next to him at his brother's barbershop. His kindness has been overwhelming. Every time I'm around him, I feel the urge to express my gratitude. I want him to know how thankful I am and how much I want to make him proud. It's as if he's the father I never had. But for some reason, I'm afraid that thanking him might make him uncomfortable. I feel like I owe him everything. Without him, I might be working at a fast food restaurant, single, and in a dark place. I just want to show him that his generosity hasn't gone unnoticed. I want to make him proud, but I struggle with how to do that without seeming awkward. He has a son of his own, and I don't want him to feel like I see him as a father figure. I'm reaching out for any advice on how to express my appreciation without coming off as strange.